Is that what you get from just spinning a towel? There's no magic here, Harold, I said. You're just letting your body do what it was designed to do, move. When I told a patient that if he just walked slower he could save his knee, he laughed. 6 months later he had the last laugh. If you don't want to be like him, I can help you improve this. I am Dr. Noah Jupe, a physiotherapist, has worked for over 20 years in a small clinic in North London, where every day I see what textbooks never teach you: the fragility and resilience of old age. I meet men who were once strong as steel, now struggling to tie their shoelaces. Women who used to walk for hours, now having to stop after a few dozen steps. None of them lack willpower. They just lack one thing: move properly. One autumn morning, Mr. Harold walked into the clinic with a folded handkerchief in his pocket. He smiled broadly and said, "Today I have a secret weapon, doctor." I knew he was referring to the final movement, the exercise the Japanese call towel twist or twirl the towel, a seemingly meaningless movement, but has the power to change the entire body. I told him to sit up straight, hold the towel at shoulder level with both hands, and pull it as if he were trying to tear it. "Hold that tension," I said, "and then rotate to the right, hold for 3 seconds, then return to the center, then to the left." He did so slowly, sweat beginning to bead on his forehead. "My whole body tensed," he said, "like I was lifting weights." I smiled. "That's right, because this exercise doesn't just use the arms, it also activates the deep muscles along the spine, abdomen, shoulders, and hips." I told him about a study at Taku University where scientists attached sensors to elderly people while they did this exercise. They found that almost the entire muscle group that stabilizes the spine and shoulder joint are all working at the same time. People who practice regularly for just 2 minutes a day have better bone density, faster nerve reflexes, and most importantly, sleep deeper, mind clearer. He looked at me, seemingly surprised. "Is that what you get from just spinning a towel?" I nodded. "Because when you pull and spin at the same time, both sides of your brain have to work together to maintain balance. It's like learning a musical instrument. The more you practice, the more flexible your brain becomes." And the last dearness, I told him to practice this exercise twice a day, in the morning after waking up and in the evening before going to bed. When you turn to the right, exhale slowly. When you return to the center, inhale deeply. Think of it as music for the body. He laughed, then said, "It feels strange, but relaxing." 2 weeks later, he returned, his face brighter, his shoulders straight, his voice clear. "I sleep much better. My wife says I look younger." "There's no magic here, Harold," I said. "You're just letting your body do what it was designed to do, move." I looked at him, remembering the image of the man huddled together on the first day, tired eyes, shaky gait. Now he was completely different. He walked with the confidence of someone who knew he was still in control. "How do you feel?" I asked. He smiled and answered simply, "I feel free." I believe that is the most valuable thing anyone at this age can have. Not muscle strength, but free. To stand up, walk, sleep peacefully, and live without fear of being a burden to anyone. As he left the room, I stood watching him, relieved. I knew that someday he would no longer need me, and that was the success of this profession. I opened my notebook and wrote the familiar words. Harold Benson restored his balance. I tell this story not to talk about miracles, but to remind that the human body never really ages. It just needs to remember how to function. The 6 Japanese movements: slow walking Sampo, morning stretching Radio Taiso, deep squats, single leg standing, sitting down and rising from the floor, and towel twisting, are more than just exercises. They are a way of life, a connection between body, breath, and mind. When I told a patient that if he just walked slower he could save his knee, he laughed. 6 months later, he had the last laugh. And well, if you want me to send you detailed instructions for each move, just leave a comment, number 1, or hit follow and subscribe. I read every comment and would love to join you on your journey to regaining your strength and confidence. After his first session, Harold returned to the clinic with a slight smile. "I walk slowly around the park every morning," as he said. "At first it felt funny. Everyone thought I had a sore leg, but then I felt really peaceful." I smiled, because just hearing the word peaceful made me know the exercise had started to work. For the elderly, what they need is not speed, but a connection between body and mind. I said to him, "Very good, Harold. Now, let's try something the Japanese do every morning. They call it radio taiso." He raised his eyebrows. "What is it? A radio listening exercise?" I laughed. "Yes, but it has been around for almost a century. Every morning at 6:30, the whole of Japan plays the same song, and millions of people move to it." I showed him the video. Images of old people, children, office workers raising their arms, rotating their shoulders, bending their bodies to the gentle rhythm of a piano. He looked at me intently. "It looks simple, but why do they do it all the time?" I replied, "Because they understand that the body does not need to be tired to be healthy. It just needs to be awakened properly." I guided him through a 3-minute exercise. Raise your arms, take a deep breath, release them slowly. Roll your shoulders in circles, lean left, then right. Take your time. He did it, somewhat stiffly. After a few movements, he let out a sigh of relief. "I'm warm in just a few minutes," he said. I nodded. "That's your synovial fluid reactivating like greasing a hinge." I told him about a study by Osaka University. People over 60 who practice radio taiso every morning had a 40% lower risk of falling and 55% less back pain than those who didn't. "The secret," I said, "is consistency. They don't try, they just keep going. It's like drinking tea every morning, a little ritual that helps the body get into the rhythm of life." Thank you for watching. And goading in a goad of very day. A week later when he returned, I could see the difference. He walked faster, his shoulders less stiff, his eyes brighter. "Doctor," he said, "I started squatting like you told me to, but I got halfway up and my legs started shaking." I smiled. "Shaking is a good sign, Harold. It means the muscles are waking up." I showed him how to do it safely. Stand with your back against a wall, feet shoulder-width apart. Lower yourself slowly, keeping your heels on the ground. Then stand up. Don't try to go too far, just hold for 30 seconds. He tried, wobbling a little but not giving up. "It's harder than I thought," he said. "Yes," I replied, "because we've been sitting in chairs for so many years. Your body isn't weak, it's just forgotten how to use itself." I told him that in Japan, old people still squat when gardening, eating, or talking. They don't exercise, they live a sedentary life, I said. But the more comfortable we are, the less we use our bodies, so everything gradually freezes. I explained the mechanics of this position. When you squat, your hip joints open, your spine decompresses, and blood flows better down your legs. A study in Tokyo that followed more than 5,000 elderly people found that those who squatted for more than 2 minutes a day lived an average of 9 years longer. After listening, he just nodded and said softly, 9 years is worth a try. I laughed. Not only will you live longer, but you will live better. Start with seemingly small movements. That day, as he left the clinic, I watched him walk, still slow, but with something more steady, as if each step had a purpose. I realized, sometimes recovery is not about the muscles, but about the belief that the body can still change. In the next part, I will tell you about 2 strange exercises that Japanese doctors consider brain tonics, where you just need to standing still can also make the body younger every day. About a month later, when Mr. Harold returned to the clinic, I hardly recognized him. His gait was steadier, his back straighter, and there was something very different in his voice. Confidence. "I still do slow walking and stretching every morning," he said, "but I want something a little more challenging, Doc." I smiled. "Very well. Now let's get to the exercise that the Japanese consider brain tonic, standing on one leg." He laughed. "Just standing? I thought I needed to do something more complicated," I replied. "Just standing, but if done right, it can rejuvenate your brain by 10 years. I showed him how to get started. Stand close to a wall for safety, lift one foot slightly off the ground, and look straight ahead at a fixed point. Breathe evenly and try to maintain your balance for at least 30 seconds. He tried, his legs shaking immediately. "It's harder than I thought," he said. I nodded. "That's because in those few seconds, hundreds of small muscles around your hips, knees, and ankles have to work together to keep you steady." I explained that when we stand on one leg, our body sends thousands of small signals to the brain every second to adjust our posture. This activity stimulates the cerebellum and frontal lobe, which controls coordination and short-term memory. A study at Fukuoka University showed that people who practice standing on one leg twice a day reduced their risk of falling by 75% and had significantly higher gray matter density in their brains than those who did not practice. He listened and smiled. It sounds like I'm exercising my brain more than my legs, I said. Exactly. Every time you balance longer, your brain is regenerating new neural connections. I guided him to make the exercise a habit. When brushing your teeth, try standing on one leg, right in the morning, left in the evening, just 1 minute, twice a day. He nodded, looking as excited as a child given a new challenge. 2 weeks later, he returned and boasted, I was able to stand for almost a minute without leaning against the wall. He paused, then added, honestly, I feel more alert. Even when I walk on the street, I look down less often. I laughed. Your brain is regaining its natural balancing reflex. From the one-legged standing exercise, I lead him to the next movement. Sit down and stand up from the floor, an exercise that the Japanese consider a measure of biological age. In Japan, old people still sit on the floor to eat, watch TV, or chat, I said. Every time they sit down and stand up, they are strengthening their hips, knees, and lower abdomen. Many God how sonen the little be to God since Saris fallow. I showed him how to do it. From a standing position, lower one knee to the ground, then the other knee, sitting on your heels. Then, push yourself up with one leg and stand up straight. He tried, somewhat awkwardly. It's hard, I have to use my hands. I laughed. It's okay. Using your hands at first is fine. But the goal is to be able to stand up without them one day. And flus fall well, id no se baka. I told him about a study from Tsukuba University where scientists followed 10,000 elderly people and found that those who could get up from the floor without using their hands live 6 years longer than average compared to those who couldn't. It's not a miracle, I said, but it's because they still retain the strength and coordination of their youth. It's sumhen in France's liver dollars. That day, he sweated the most he had ever during practice, but he still smiled. I thought I was past the time to learn these things, but I still have a chance, I replied. Your body has never forgotten how to be healthy. It is just waiting to be awakened. As he left, I watched his figure a little tired, but each step sure and determined. I realized that recovery is not just about strengthening muscles. Boots revive faith that we still have the ability to change, no matter what age. One of the patients that I will always remember is Mr. Harold Benson, 74 years old, used to be a bridge engineer, a meticulous, tough, and extremely proud man. The first day he came to the clinic, I saw him sitting on the waiting chair, his arms hugging his knees, his eyes looking far away. From the way he stood up, I realized that his legs had endured too much. His back was slightly hunched, his hips were stiff, his knees were shaking slightly. When I asked him what he feared most, he replied, I'm not afraid of getting old, doctor. I'm just afraid of having to rely on others. That sentence was like a light knife cutting into the self-esteem of men who used to be masters of their own lives. And that is why I understand that he needs more than medicine. He needed to regain control of his body. I asked him about his exercise habits. He used to play golf, jog every morning, but since his knees started hurting, everything stopped. I took a few weeks off to get better, he said, and those weeks turned into months. I looked at him and said, the body doesn't get weaker because of age, Harold. It's because we stop giving it the chance to function the way it used to. He was silent, head bowed, but I saw a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. I told him about a strange thing in Japan. There are tens of thousands of people over 90 who still walk lightly, climb stairs without handrails. They don't go to the gym, don't use modern equipment. They just maintain 6 simple movements every day. A life exercise shave become part of their culture. These 6 movements not only keep joints flexible and muscles strong, but also help the brain function like someone 20 years younger. I opened my tablet and showed him pictures of elderly Japanese people walking slowly in the park, shrugging in the morning light, or squatting to prune flowers in the garden. He laughed, a little skeptically. Are they healthier by doing that? I smiled. More than healthy, they maintain their independence. And that is what we all want. I started to guide him through the first lesson, slow, conscious walking. The Japanese call it sampo. We practiced right in the clinic hallway. I told him to inhale for 2 steps, hold for 2 steps, then exhale for 4 steps. Slowly, I said. Feel your feet on the floor, from heel to toe. He tried to walk, but after a few minutes he gasped and laughed. I've never felt so tired walking. I replied, because for the first time, you're actually talking to your body. Just a week later, he returned, saying his knees hurt less, he slept more deeply, and he felt lighter in the morning. I knew this was a good sign. When blood flow is restored, joints are lubricated again, the body begins to heal itself. I showed him a study from Kyoto University. People who practice Sampo daily reduce vascular stiffness by up to 60% and improve balance by up to 45 seconds compared to people of the same age. He looked at me, nodded slowly, his eyes showing confidence for the first time. The next week he came earlier than usual, carrying a small towel in his hand. I want to learn more lessons from that Japanese, he said, half-jokingly. I laughed out loud, because to me that was the most important moment, when a person not only wants toe pain free, but won't get well. Harold's story is just one of hundreds I've encountered, but in each patient, I see the same thing. Age is not a sentence, it is just a reminder to start talking to our bodies again. If you're at the age where bending down to tie your shoelaces is a challenge, or waking up to the sound of your joints clicking, it's time to get started. In the following sections, I'll share 6 magical Japanese moves, simple, safe, and scientifically proven, that you can do at home. No tools, no special strength, just perseverance and faith. And if you want me to send you detailed instructions for applying these 6 movements properly, leave a comment.com number 1 or click follow and subscribe to the channel. I read each of your comments because each share is a living story. Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. I am Dr. Noah Jupe, and I believe that old age is not a stopping point, but an opportunity to begin again, steadily, slowly, and with dignity.